Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Thanks for tuning in again. And also thanks for all the support and the likes and the comments and the subscribes on the first video. Really appreciated the feedback. We're going to be detailing my brother-in-law's Golf R 2019 today. And today we're going to do a full interior and exterior detail. So that means full exterior decontamination, removing all the tar and iron deposits. We're going to do a wheel decon as well. And then we're going to do a sort of a semi-deep clean on the interior. So what I mean by that is sort of cleaning the leather properly with my new leather cleaner that I got recently. And doing also cleaning the panels with some all-purpose cleaner as well. On this specific vehicle, the outside wasn't as dirty, nor was the inside really, but the point of this video was really to demonstrate perceived cleanliness versus actual cleanliness. So here you can see the leather on first glance doesn't look that dirty, as in the shiny part. You can watch my first video if you want to see me go into detail about shiny interiors and what that means. But on this one specifically, the pedals were a little bit dirty, so I show you how to clean that later on. But on the leather front, like I said, it doesn't look that dirty, but you'll see later on in the video when I do a comparison. I'll do a 50-50 split of the leather that I clean, and you will clearly see the difference. So stick around for that. On the center console here, you can see a lot of fingerprints, a lot of dust that's accumulated. So I will show you how to get that off safely as well without further scratching the gloss black surfaces. This vehicle has all-weather mats, so I'll show you how to clean those later on, so stick around for that. And next up, I'm going to show you what products I used for this Golf today. For this Golf today, we are going to be using Shield Snow Foam for the pre-wash, for the pre-rinse phase, just to loosen up the dirt on the paintwork. Then for the main wash, we're going to be using Shield's Decon shampoo. This is going to be removing all of the existing waxes and sealants, as well as any other road contaminants. For the wheels, I'm going to be using Liqui Moly's Iron Wheel Cleaner today, because I see the wheels are pretty contaminated just by when I viewed the car earlier. And then I will also be using Shield's car wash shampoo in the wheels bucket to wash the wheels. For the tires today, we're going to be using AutoDNA's VRT dressing again. Then what I'm going to do today as well is I'm going to be using Gyeon's Wet Coat. This is a spray-on rinse-off sealant, and I'm going to be using this one specifically for the wheels, which I will demo later on. As you guys saw in my first video, I use soft materials such as the soft wheel woolly for the barrels. I use the soft microfiber cloth for the faces of the wheels, and then I use a stiff nylon brush for the tires. I saw in these wheels that there are a few intricate places, so I'm going to be using my boar hair detail brush for the intricate parts of the wheel faces that my wash mitt won't get to. I saw on the vehicle that there are a bit of iron contaminants, so I'm going to be using AutoDNA's Iron Extreme today just to get rid of some of the iron contaminants. And then on the lowest side rockers as well as the rear bumper, I saw a little bit of tar as well, so I'm going to be using AutoDNA's tar and glue remover on those sections as well. Alright, so for the paint protection today, we're going to be using Total Wax Sealant Shine. This is a sealant wax. This is my favorite sealant to use. Very inexpensive and very effective. It lasts about 6 months on the vehicle. Anything between 4 and 6 months depending on how well you maintain it. So today I'm going to be demoing Total Wax's Sealant Shine. Then for the interior, we're going to do a full leather clean as well as all the interior surfaces. So we're going to be using leather cleaner on this one. In my previous video, I spoke about the shininess of the leather and the interior trims. So I'm going to be demo how to clean that. So we're going to be using Autoglim's leather cleaner. And then for the glass, again, my favorite product, Autoglims Fast Glass. For the interior panels, I'm going to be using again some all-purpose cleaner diluted. As you guys saw in my previous video, I like to use Wayne's Clean Green. This one is lavender scented, so it gives a nice scent inside the vehicle. So we're going to be using all-purpose cleaner for the panels today, and then to protect them, I'm going to be using Turtle Wax's interior mist detailer. Now, I know in my previous video I showed you guys how well this cleans from a maintenance perspective, but in this video I'm going to use it as a protectant. So you'll see if you read the label here, it does provide UV protection to the interior. So that is the purpose that I'm going to be using it for today. I saw this Golf R has aluminium pedals, so I'm going to be using my bore hair detail brush just to clean out those aluminium pedals. I'll see how it goes with the brush. If I see that the results aren't what I'm looking for, then what I will do is I will get out the steamer. I have this Mielex handheld steamer, quite an inexpensive product, and it does the job pretty well. So I will check how I get by with the brush. If I see that the results aren't what I was looking for with the brush, then I'll hit it with a steamer. And then what you'll also see me doing today, which I didn't do the last time with this bore hair detail brush, is around all of the emblems of the vehicle. So the front emblem here on the sides, the back as well, underneath the reverse camera. I'll be using the bore hair detail brush as well. I saw that those emblems are a bit dirty on the edges. So I'm going to be demoing how to get those areas clean with my bore hair detail brush as well. All right, so let's get right into it. So from my first video, you guys know the process. So we start with the wheels. We do a thorough rinse of the wheels and the tires and the wheel wells. If you want more information on that, you guys can watch my first video about the Clubman Cooper S that I detailed. So on this one specifically, what we did differently was we did a full iron decontamination of the wheels, like you see me doing here. And that is to remove all the wheel, the caked on wheel dust that doesn't come loose, that's caked onto the clear coat. So we're going to be using all of those, we're going to be removing all those iron contaminants from there. For the tires, you guys know the process. We're using a combination of a stiff tire brush with some all-purpose cleaner, that's going to decrease the sidewalls, with some snow foam as well in the pump sprayer. You can see here, I don't know if it articulates well on the video, but the tires came clean very well. There was a proper brown layer on the tire sidewall after I cleaned it. So yeah. Here I'm using my bore hair detail brush like I explained in my first video. On this car specifically, I used it for the intricate places that I couldn't get to with the wash mitt, specifically where the wheel nuts are, and then the calipers on this one. So the calipers on this one is gloss black, so I chose to clean them as well. And then I used my wheelbarrow brush to clean the sort of, you'll see me going on the front side of the caliper. I'm not sure how to explain that properly, but on the front side of the caliper, I used the wheelbarrow brush, a barrel brush, to clean that side of the caliper. So that actually worked very well. And then, as you guys know, my soft wheel mitt. If you want more information on that and why I used that, you can watch my first video. I explained that in a more detailed manner, but for this video, I thought, let me rather not focus too much on the process that I've already gone through in the first video, and rather sort of focus on the stuff that we didn't get to cover in the first video. So that's sort of why we're not going into too much detail on that. Okay, as we do a final rinse on these wheels, you will see me, I'm going to apply some Gyeon Wet Coat to spray on rinse off sealant. That's going to give a protective layer on the wheels to keep it cleaner for longer. So you spray it thoroughly inside the barrels, on the faces, on the caliper, and then make sure to rinse it off with high pressure water. That's the way that you activate the chemical. And yeah, you can already see the water beading on top of the wheels here. For the exhausts, I'm using the exact same materials, tools and chemicals as I used for the wheels. So you could see here the Decon carbon on the sort of tips of the exhaust tips. And I'm using my bore head user brushes to get into those small little holes that the Akrapovic exhaust has on the edges or on the tips of it. In my first video, I highlighted the importance of making sure you regularly clean these exhaust tips so that you don't have this buildup of carbon on the exhaust tips. So you can just go and view that in a little bit more detail, but that's why we clean the exhaust tips thoroughly, is to avoid the buildup of that carbon, that black carbon on the exhaust tips. For the exterior today, I did a pre-foaming with some Decon shampoo and Shield snow foam, just to start the decontamination process, removing all the waxes and sealants. And then I did a second snow foam just before I used the detail brush as well. So I snow foamed it twice. So I rinsed off the first one, the first layer of snow foam, and then I applied a second layer to sort of lubricate the paint when I used the bore head detail brush around all the emblems, which you will see in a few seconds. And enjoy. Around the emblems here, you can see what I was talking about earlier, the caked on dirt around the emblems, and then also on the VW logo on the inside as well, you can see there. So remember to go all around the vehicle where you see these intricate places. So just to make sure that you get all of those places cleaned out, specifically in the front. The front of this Golf R was very intricate. There were a lot of crevices and nooks and crannies to clean here. So I spent quite a while on the front end here. So remember the door handles as well. I didn't get to show this on my first video, and then also inside, like the edges where the side mirrors are as well. For the wash process, you guys know the process, top to bottom. Rinse the wash mitt out regularly in the rinse bucket to make sure that you don't carry the dirt around over the paintwork, and then flip the wash mitt as regular as needed as well. So you guys know the process from the first video, so we're not going to go into too much detail here. As I clean the exterior here, I want to just remind you guys, if you are liking the content so far, hit that like button. It'll really help the channel out. And if you enjoy my content, you can also hit the subscribe button to see more content. I'll really try and post more regularly. It has been a little bit busy at work lately, so I'm trying to balance work and sort of shooting YouTube videos for you guys. So it has been a little bit of a challenge, but I will try my best to be more consistent in uploading videos and the types of content that I also share. So yeah, thanks for your patience, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Alright, so as we're doing the final rinse here, we're going to be looking at the contamination on the paintwork. So if you guys can just follow me here. So what I'm trying to illustrate is the cake on iron contaminants that I spoke about in the beginning that we're going to remove with some iron remover. So here on this white golf specifically, I don't think it's been decontaminated since it's been bought into, or since it's been manufactured really in 2019. So there's a lot of iron contaminants on this specific vehicle, and because it's a white car, it stands out much more than it would on a darker car. So yeah, I went ahead and basically sprayed this entire vehicle top to bottom. So yeah, just to try and loosen up those iron contaminants specifically on this vehicle. The rear end was the worst, so I struggled to get it off. I had to do 2 passes, which I didn't show obviously. So I had to basically do it once, spray it off, and then I sprayed it again for the second time, just to sort of get off most of it. But you can see here what I'm trying to illustrate is the effectiveness of the iron remover. It sort of dissolves those iron contaminants, and it starts breaking it down. And then when it does, it turns purple. So when the chemical does turn purple, don't stress about it. It's not doing anything. That's actually just the product working. So as it turns purple, it's showing you that it's actually dissolving those iron contaminants. Make sure to rinse off the iron remover properly with high pressure water, preferably with a pressure washer. It tends to cling to the paintwork quite aggressively, so just make sure to rinse that off properly. For the drying process here, I'm not using my quick detail like I did in the first video, and the reason for that is because I want the surface to be as clean and free of any sort of chemical when I apply the turtle wax paint sealant, to make sure that the turtle wax paint sealant bonds to the paintwork as good as it can. So I'm not using my quick detailer in this drying phase, because we're going to coat it with turtle wax. You can see here I'm using my vacuum cleaner's blower function how good the wheels dry off, and that's because we've applied the Gyeon Wet Coat. So that hydrophobic layer on the faces and in the barrels really makes a difference when you dry the vehicle as well. So make sure to basically dry out all of the intricate places using a high velocity air, like I've explained in my first video, using high velocity air just to clean out or blow out all of those crevices. So for the all-weather mats here, I'm using the same chemicals I used with the wheel cleaner, because it's a degreaser, there's some shampoo in it, perfect combination. And then I'm using a stiff bristle brush to basically clean them out. You can also use a drill brush. I had one, but I forgot to charge my drill, and yeah, it's a long story. So it's the same thing. So you can just use a stiff bristle hand brush to do the exact same work. So yeah. For the rinsing, you can use a pressure washer. So I just opted to not switch the pressure washer on. Long story short, my wife was taking a nap, so I didn't actually want to wake her. So yeah, there's no science behind it. It was literally just to be considerate. So that's why you don't see me using the pressure washer in its full capacity. So I was just sort of switched it off and then let the natural flow of the water rinse off the floor mats. It doesn't really matter, honestly guys, don't overthink it, as long as you just rinse them out properly and then hang them up to dry. As you guys know, I have a process to clean the interior. So again, soft bristle brush in combination with a vacuum cleaner to get into all those intricate places and nooks and crannies, air vents specifically, around all the dials and knobs, the gear lever in the center console where the cup holders are. It's a really great combination of these two tools to get into every single crevice and nook and cranny that you possibly can. So not going to go into too much detail here. As you guys know from my first video, this is my process. It's been working for me since I started detailing. So I'm just going to keep on doing that. So whatever process works for you guys. But yeah, just remember to use a soft brush though. Specifically with these gloss black surfaces, they scratch so easily, as you guys know. This time, at least I remember to film vacuuming the seats. So you can see me pulling apart the seams, getting into all those nooks and crannies, vacuuming the seat properly because we're going to do a deep clean of the seat with leather cleaner. So it's important to make sure that you vacuum out every single part of the seats, and always remember to pull apart the seams to get in between those seams as well. I'm going to show you a demo of cleaning the steering wheel. So I did a 50-50 split here using a little sort of, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a scrubbing pad. It's got this sort of soft but stiff side and then a microfiber side. So I'm using Auto Glim's leather cleaner. I switched from Auto DNA's leather cleaner to Auto Glim's leather cleaner, and I have to say, using it for the first time, it's such a fantastic product. What I like about it the most is that it wipes off cleanly, so it doesn't leave residue and it wipes off after the first wipe. Whereas the Auto DNA one, you have to wipe 50 million times to get all the cleaner off it. It's wastes so much of time. So yeah, I would recommend the Auto Glim leather cleaner. So you can just use a damp cloth for the first, just to get the chemical off. So a damp microfiber cloth. And then for the second wipe, just use a dry one. Very simple. Already here you can see the difference between the left side and the right side. The left side has a matte finish now, and the left side has a matte finish and the right side is shiny. So the joys of making YouTube videos. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So here clearly I hope it articulates on camera, but on the right side you can see the shininess, and on the left side you can see that it's a matte finish now. The same thing here for the leather seats. So on the leather seats, definitely the same process that I followed for the steering wheel. Again, what I love about this leather cleaner is that first of all, it makes just enough foam for you to know that it's working, and it honestly wipes off so cleanly, so easily. You can see here the dirtiness on that scrub pad. Initially when I showed you guys, the seats looked clean, but from this demo you can clearly see that it wasn't clean. And that's the beauty of using the right products on the right surfaces. So I'm going to do a 50-50 with the camera, but I noticed that on the camera it didn't articulate the result as properly as I wanted. So what I will do is I'll show you guys a quick photo of that here. So here you can clearly see a massive difference, and this was just with one pass of the leather cleaner. I did 2 passes and that sorted it out quite well. For the interior panels here, I just used some all-purpose cleaner diluted and my scrubbing pads microfiber side. So I just used that to get off whatever dirt there was. A little bit of shininess on the door tops. Again, using a damp microfiber cloth just to remove the residue, and then following up with a dry one just to dry the surface. And I hope it comes out on camera, but already here you can see the matte finish that we are looking for on these plastic surfaces. Again, yeah, this shot articulates it very well. You can see clean matte finish on the door panels. That's what we want. For the glass today, we're going to be coating it with Turtle Wax's Clear View Rain Repellent. This is a hydrophobic sealant for the glass. So to apply, you use a microfiber pad, wet it with the product, and then the instructions clearly say that you need to apply it in a circular motion, top to bottom, left to right. I find that gives you the best coverage. But honestly speaking, I don't think you should overthink it too much. In my opinion, if you cover the surface, if you make sure you have 100% coverage of the surface in any way, shape or form, that should do sort of the exact same thing. It does also say on the instructions that you should apply 2 coats. So the first coat you apply and then you wait for it to dry to a haze. So if it dries and it leaves that hazy effect on the windscreen, that means it dried. Then the instructions say that you need to apply a second coat to it. So apply a second coat and then wait for that to dry to a haze as well. To remove the residue, what the instructions say is that you take a little bit of water, you spritz the water on the area that you just sealed, and then you just use a microfiber towel to wipe off the residue. I specifically like to use my waffle weave glass towels because they leave no streaks. And yeah, so you just make sure that you remove all the residue with a little bit of water, and then you're good to go. On this demo here, you can see how smooth that glass is. Just look how fast that microfiber towel slides off the glass. So yeah, that's what the product does. It creates a super slick surface to make the rain or the water just slide off the windscreen. You almost never have to use your wipers. So I'm trying to articulate that or show you that through this demo, so you can see me spraying water on the windscreen and just look how fast that water runs off the windscreen. So that's the purpose of it. So that's why we coat all the exterior glass, including the mirrors, the back glass, the windows on the sides, everything. So that's the purpose of it really, is for safety. So it does that, what you see on the camera here. Moving on to the paint sealant, I'm using Turtle Wax's Sealant Shine. What I found is that to make it as effective as possible, I like to apply it on a dry vehicle. So I spray a few sprays, spray it on my microfiber applicator, and then in the same way we did the rain repellent, we do a up and down, left to right application, and that's just to make sure that you have full coverage of the product onto the paintwork. But again, don't overthink it. As long as you have full coverage of the product, it doesn't really matter. So with this one specifically, we just do 1 coat, and then you use a different microfiber towel. You can use any microfiber towel that you want to, but we need to buff the surface to level the coating or the sealant on top of the paintwork and to give it that shine. So I just use my Shield all-purpose drying towels here because they're soft, and I basically buff the surface to a clean, dry and streak-free finish. So you'll see me when you run the back of the hand over the surface, it should just slide effortlessly. So then you know you've applied the coating properly. What I do love about this product though, and I just feel that I have to mention it, is the ease of use of it. So you can apply it to a wet vehicle, you can apply it to a dry vehicle, you can use it as a drying aid like you saw me do with my quick detailer in my first video. You can apply it in the sun, you can apply it in the shade. That's really what makes this product so good, is that it gives the user incredible ease of use. So it's a very easy to use product. You can use it in any weather, on any surface. You can even use it on glass if you want to. I just didn't opt to do it here. You can use it on the plastics, you can use it on your headlights, on the grill, everywhere. So yeah, just make sure you cover every surface and then make sure you buff it afterwards to a clean, dry and streak-free finish. What I like to do is if it's like a new application like this, I apply it to a dry vehicle in the way that I'm doing it now. But if I'm using it as a topper, then after my wash phase, I just spray it onto the wet vehicle and dry the vehicle with the product on it. So that I use it like that as a topper to the existing coating. So you can also do it that way. I would really like to know if I'm giving too much information or too little information. So if you guys can just leave a comment, indicate your preference, that'll be really great. Then I know for the next one what to do in terms of narration. So let me know, that'll be extremely helpful. So yeah, enjoy these final shots. Hope to see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share.